NTT INDYCAR Series. With live coverage of today's qualifying, this is the INDYCAR Radio Network.
It is the Hy-Vee INDYCAR race weekend at Iowa Speedway, Newton, Iowa. Mark James, Davey Hamilton, Nick Yeoman, Jake Query, Michael Young set to take you through the next hour or so as we get ready to set the field, Davey, for not one race but two at Iowa Speedway.
That's right. Both laps are going to count, so they need to get them right. They'll come by, go one time by, then come back for the green flag, green, white, checkered. And as you said, it's not like, qualifying. Normally it's the fastest, the two laps, but not here. Both laps count. First lap will determine today's race. The second lap will determine the start of tomorrow's race.
Plenty of hand-wringing going on. I mean, there's a lot at play here. There's been a repave. There's been some issues with a different compound that Firestone chose to bring after the test. And, of course, there's the heat and humidity, and there's the hybrid. All of that factoring into an interesting race weekend.
Not that much, right? I mean, they've obviously had to make a big change on downforce levels for these cars. They've had to make a change on the tire. Firestone brought a different tire than they tested on. With the repave job, more than anything, Mark, it's really, really smooth through the corners now. All the bumps are gone, but what it did is it added so much grip to the corners of this racetrack, making it so much faster to where they're just wide open around there. And so what that means, it's kind of single lane right now. So we're hoping when it comes race this afternoon that it's going to widen out and that second groove's going to come in.
So it's going to be a warm one this weekend for sure. Let's get the details on that by checking in with Jake Query on pit lane.
Thank you, Mark. Warm indeed. Temperature, but the real thing you want to look at is the track temperature and the way that it is going to negotiate those Firestone Firehawks. 122 degrees is the track temperature right now. What will happen in terms of an outside line, a grip on the outside, especially during the race, that remains to be seen. But one thing that also will be seen for these drivers when they come off of turn number 4, which technically is headed towards the south, a very slight breeze, which does offer a nice reprieve here from the heat along pit road. But as it stands right now, wouldn't be enough necessarily to impede the focus of the drivers. But if it does pick up like we saw at the outset of the Indy Next race, could be a little bit tricky in terms of the conditions in turn number 1. But overall, warm day, but a sunny and pretty one here in Newton, Iowa.
That leads us to Nick Yeoman, who was first of all high atop turn 4 and who just a few moments ago anchored today's Indy Next race. Hello, Nick.
Hello, Mark. It was a very entertaining Indy Next race, a short one to say the least. It was shortened to 55 laps, but congratulations to Louis Foster getting it done, making a late race pass of James Rowe to win his 5th race of the season. Let's talk a little bit about this racetrack, Mark. It is a D-shaped oval. Some areas look the same from when we started coming back here in 2007, and there are some areas that have changed quite a bit. We'll talk about the 12 places on the racetrack that have stayed the same. That's the front and back straightaway. Back straightaway banked at just 4 degrees. Front straightaway, now a little more curvature to it. That's banked at 10 degrees. But it's in the corners where things have changed. The degree of banking, 12 to 14, both in turns 1 and 2 and turns 3 and 4. But there is some new asphalt that's been laid down in the bottom couple of grooves. That has been very, very tricky for these drivers to navigate. But going to be fun to watch these drivers rocking around this racetrack and try to put together 2 good laps to set the field for today's race and the race tomorrow.
And one thing's for sure, Davey Hamilton, you said that repave has made this thing silky smooth.
It is silky smooth. You're right. Still a few bumps on the straightaway, but you don't even really know that. You go on the corner, and it's been a while because it's been bumpy for quite a while, and you're just ready for that bump, and it never happens. They did a really outstanding job paving these corners, but like I said, it just made it so much faster on the bottom that you want to take the shortest line around here. The shortest distance is the fastest, and right now that second groove it's very difficult to get into it.
You guys are a different breed. There's a lot of things about you that make you that way. Talking about race car drivers, and it's funny because we go back to Mid-Ohio and talking about the repave there and now the repave here. I mean, it seems that some tracks drivers have a tendency to bemoan the bumps, but I've actually heard some drivers say over the last couple of weekends, some of the bumps that are gone, they actually miss them a little bit.
It's character. I read what Scott Dixon said. This track was really a challenge and really kind of an exciting challenge. That's gone right now. It's pretty easy to go around there. We talked to Pato, and he said the same thing. He goes, man, I just see a single file race. It's just too fast, too easy to drive these cars. And when you say it's too easy to drive around a 7-8 mile track at 185, 186 mile an hour, doesn't seem right, but it really is just the challenge is kind of gone now. Well, as the race goes, I just feel like people are going to be trying that outside groove. I think that's going to hopefully come in. And another thing is, it's a long race. It's going to be hot. Things change. So I still expect an exciting race.
Well, the challenges of the old track and the old pavement and the old configuration gone, but now we have new challenges, and I think they'll see those unfold throughout the course of the weekend.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And the new challenges, everybody's going to get used to them. Everybody's going to figure those out. Tire wear is going to be an issue. Like, say, Firestone did a really good job. They knew after the test that they needed a little bit more durable tire for this super fast 7/8 mile track, and they brought it, and it seems to be doing the job. We'll see if it degrades. By the fact, when I say they changed the tire, it wasn't that the tire that they tested on was bad, Mark. It was that it stayed fast. They were running 190 miles an hour on that test, and no deg. I mean, they were from the first lap, and they were going the whole stint. Well, that went to show them, hey, there won't be any pass, and it's just too fast. There's no deg. So they brought a tire that was actually a little weaker. I mean, that was going to wear out a little bit more to try to get these cars to slide around a little bit. The series took some downforce out of the cars from the test to try to make it where you had to lift these corners a little bit more. So we'll just see. And until we're not going to find out in single leg qualifying like we have right now, but we will find out once that race starts.
So your first qualifier is going to be Jack Harvey, who's putting his car through the paces now. It'll be Jack Harvey, Catherine Legg, Stingray Robb, David Malukas, Kiffin Simpson, Ed Carpenter back in the car this weekend, Augustin Canapino, Pietro Fittipaldi, Ritas VK, and Linus Lundqvist are your first 10 qualifiers that we will see of the 27 cars that are attempting to qualify. And Jack Harvey's completed his warm-up lap, and the run is underway as he points it into turn number 2.
The veteran from England has been in this car for the majority of the season for Dale Coyne Racing, looking for that first good run of the year. Jack Harvey dives it into turn number 3 here, Mark, to complete lap number 1.
Jack Harvey, that wide swing off of turn number 4, a couple of feet off of that outside retaining wall. White flag flies, lap number 1, 178.561 already in the back straight. Jack Harvey
does a good job keeping that car to the bottom of the racetrack through turns 1 and 2. We'll see if the driver from England can do that in turns 3 and 4. That car looks stable. Question is it fast? The Dale Coyne Racing driver rips across the start-finish line.
And he was a little faster, noticeably faster, in fact, Davey, off of 178.561. Lap number 2, 180.389 for Jack Harvey.
Just a little confidence build up after that first lap. First car on track, the first lap, he just had to, take it easy. It's obviously a little bit of a disadvantage being the first car's out, just not knowing what the grip level is, what the heat's going to do, what the balance changes are. So a little disadvantage for Jack, but he did get that second lap, seemed to be a pretty good one.
Yeah, there's always a bit of hand-wringing and consternation among these teams as you hear them bemoan the fact that, they're one of the first ones out to qualify. Everybody likes to go late, I think.
Yeah, and it does. And sometimes, it's conditions. And I always, in short track racing, I always thought, you know what, I'm going to go quick. I'm going out first and lay something down to try to really, have everybody something to shoot for. But, you got to look at the weather conditions, the cooler, the more overcast. There's a lot of things that you want to do. But now what they do, I think it is on entrant points, reorder, and that's how they go out in the order of qualifying.
Temporary hold right now. There's an issue of sorts in race control, and they are working on it. Davey, as Nick Yeoman talked about, a bit of a disjointed Indy next by Firestone race earlier today, but still, when we were at speed and under green conditions, still very entertaining.
Yeah, it was just unfortunate for them. They got the race in. I give hats off to everybody for just fighting through it. It seems like the tires just didn't have what it was. It was just too fast. They were too fast. The tires were blistering, not holding up. They changed the format of that race. Then they had a big wreck in the middle of it that probably helped them a lot because it was about 20-plus laps of caution to cool those tires off and let them go again. So it was in. It wasn't the best performance. It wasn't the best race to watch, but at the end of the day, they got it in. And Foster, again, another win for him, just extends that points lead.
Yeah, stranglehold on that championship, and unfortunately, you mentioned those tire issues. They bit Jacob Abel, who's trying to stay in championship contention. Yep. Kyle Collette, he lost grip in that race car, too. He was making the charge to get back into the championship. Collette
looked like something happened to him because the car took off early in the corner down in turn 1, early entry, and took out, Rowe, who was coming from the back of the field looking really good, actually. Miles Rowe to come up, and he was making some ground, and then Jack Miller right at the end with just a few laps to go. The right rear tire absolutely was shredded on that car. No grip, no chance. When he went in turn 3, that car spun around and got in the wall there as well.
And don't forget, this is qualifying for race 1 and race 2. Davey, kind of a scenario that guys like you and I enjoy from the short track days, where you qualify and race all on the same day, but then you do have the second half of the doubleheader tomorrow.
Yeah, no, it's going to be great. And then then, by the way, they're just going to show up and they're going to run that doubleheader tomorrow. There's no practice, no nothing. They're ready to line them up and let's go. And so, key thing for all these drivers and the teams: have a good race today, finish the race, keep it all in one piece, to where tomorrow these crews don't have to stay up late, because it ends late tonight and starts fairly early tomorrow.
250 lap race, but given all the variables with the tire wear and things of that nature and the hybrid, question is, Davey, how important is qualifying for this race? I mean, here in the past, typically guys have said it's not where you start, it's where you finish. But is that the case this weekend?
No, I think the farther forward you are, the better off you're going to be. I think it's going to be very, very difficult to pass, even if we get that second group in and that it is going to be a passing line. I still think it's going to be very difficult to use that. So I do feel the farther forward you are, the better opportunity you're going to have for sure.
Going to be interesting to see it again. That bit of an issue in race control. Jack Harvey has completed his run. Lap number 1 at 178.561. Lap number 2 for Jack Harvey at 180.389 miles per hour. Catherine Legg is up next as soon as she gets the okay. We're about 20 seconds away from that. Then Stingray Robb, David Malukas, Kiffin Simpson, Ed Carpenter, Augustin Canapino, Pietro Fittipaldi, Renus VK, and Linus Lundqvist. Let's hear from Jack Harvey, Michael Young.
Well, my friend, you went out always first, and that's never the most optimal opportunity here at the Speedway, but the wind really picked up when you went out. Thoughts on your two-lap quali run?
Definitely had a different balance than what I was anticipating, honestly. Quite a lot of understeer. We haven't really been battling with, like a lot of that. And I mean, the wind's going to happen. Like, it's part and parcel. No 2 days are ever totally the same. But I mean, obviously not going first isn't the preferred position. So I mean, we'll just wait and see. It's been a lot of pain this weekend, honestly. So getting to do qualifying, I think, was the important thing, and we'll see what happens. It's windy now, and I tried to send a radio message to Catherine just to kind of what to expect. So I mean, we'll just wait and see how it all shakes out. Yeah.
Best of luck, not only later today, but tomorrow as well.
Thank you.
And his teammate is on track right now, getting set to take the green flag.
And doing so off of turn number 4, Erin Likens gives the green flag signal, and she roars into turn number 1, Catherine Legg.
This is the second of 2 Dale Coyne racing cars. Catherine Legg a little high out of turn number 2. She keeps her foot in the accelerator, setting up for turn number 3, roaring past the red, white, and blue American flag here in turns 3 and 4.
There is no question it's windier today than it was yesterday for sure. We'll see what impact that has throughout the course of the day. First lap, 176.225 for Catherine Legg.
She started 31st, finished 29th in her one other start this year. That was in the Indianapolis 500. Elf Cosmetics, the sponsorship on this car. Only female driver in the field. Catherine Legg completes her qualifying run here at Iowa.
Very high exit off of turn number 2. She too went faster, but not noticeably, off of 176.225. Lap number 2, 177.862, Davey, for Catherine Legg.
Yeah, definitely off the pace. She's going to start at the back of the field, no question about it, but it's all about getting laps. You got to remember, this is only Catherine's second race, her second event. She qualified for the Indy 500, had a short day there, didn't get a lot of laps, and straight to another really difficult track here at Iowa. So she's just going to try to get some laps in and try to get more comfortable as she goes.
There is a preferred line here that has you get to the bottom of the racetrack between 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and then let that car wash up the banking. Some people decide to stay to that outside retaining wall off of turn number 4, while others try to get it back to the middle of the racetrack. What do you think the preferred line is?
Yeah, I think what the car tells you. I mean, I think if you have to scuff off speed to get to the middle of the track to try to make that a shorter line, that it's going to hinder you. I don't think it's an advantage at all. I think if the car is naturally turning, you can keep it there and make that shorter line to the front straightaway, you'll be good.
Green flag for Stingray Robb at the exit of turn number 2.
Driver from Idaho rockets his way out of turn number 2. It is car 41 for AJ Foyt Racing. Dives it into turn number 3. Gets to the bottom of the racetrack. Doesn't drift up much as Stingray Robb accelerates out of turn 4.
Yeah, stays closer to the middle of the racetrack. A decent lap number 1, 177.530 for Stingray Robb.
He's in his second year in the NTT IndyCar Series. Stingray Robb driving for the legend AJ Foyt. Already into turn number 3. Again, keeps that car fairly low. Now lets it slide up to the high side of the racetrack across the start-finish line.
Noticeably faster, Davey, off of 177.530. Lap number 2 for Stingray Robb, 181.069.
Yeah, back to the same thing. Probably Stingray just trying to feel that car out the first lap, see what it's going to do. Seeing green, there was some additional grip there for that second lap. Picked it up about 4 miles an hour.
Well, one thing's for sure, Davey. In a place like Iowa Speedway, this qualifying session doesn't take very long.
It doesn't take very long. You got to remember, when they go around here in seconds in that 17 second bracket. Yeah, it's pretty amazing.
Wow. So, yeah, we've had Stingray Robb, Jack Harvey, Catherine Legg have qualified. David Malukas up next, then Simpson, Carpenter, Canapino, Fittipaldi, VK, and Linus Lundqvist. Let's go to pit road, check in with Jay Query.
Catherine Legg has qualified at Iowa for the second time, the first since 2012. The outside observation is that the wind really picked up, especially on your second lap there. How did it feel from inside the field?
Yeah, it honestly wasn't the wind that was a problem for me. I was struggling to get any charge to start the lap, and then struggling with a bit of understeer coming off, so I couldn't get to power. So I was really disappointed with the run. It's also really hard when you're not used to jumping in these cars every weekend to go out and just throw down. Like, I was probably very cautious. So lesson learned, and experience put in my pocket, I guess.
Happy belated birthday again, and best of luck this evening.
Thank you very much. I'm excited about the race.
That's Catherine Legg, Mark.
So Catherine Legg gets her run underway, and David Malukas completes lap number 1, puts up a pretty good one, Nick Yeoman, 184.151.
Yeah, that shoots to the top of the charts. Yesterday in practice, he was 4th quick, so the driver from Chicago, Illinois, is shown in a very short amount of time. He's good on these ovals. Lightning quick, Mark James out of turn number 4.
Off of 184.151, faster still. 185.595 miles per hour. What a run.
I think it'll be a situation, Mark, where we're going to, just looking at that run, just kind of comparing to who's coming, I think we could get close to that, maybe that 190 range. Close. I mean, maybe 188s, I think could be quick today, so we'll have to see. Although Malukas was 4th quick yesterday, so really good run by that kid.
So now we're looking at David Malukas, 184.151 and a 185.595. And Jack Harvey, Stingray Robb, Catherine Legg have all qualified. And as we mentioned, Davey, as Kiffin Simpson's going through his warm-up laps, it's interesting to watch them come out, and by and large, they're running the high line to kind of build up some speed and momentum.
Yeah, that's right. Just kind of get the momentum built up. You run that high line. Track is very clean right now. So it's pretty interesting to see where they come and get that momentum. But, hey, 1 lap is not much as he's coming down for the green right now, but to get heat in those tires.
Kiffin Simpson setting up for turn number 2.
And that car did not look very comfortable entering turn number 1. Saw a wiggle at the rear end. He gathered it back in, but certainly scrubbed off some speed. First Ganassi car we've seen it on the racetrack. Here comes Kiffin Simpson out of turn number 4.
Familiar wide exit out of turn number 4. He crosses the start-finish line, sees a lap of 175.866 for Kiffin Simpson.
Yeah, so he's going to have to pick it up big time. The driver from the Cayman Islands. It's a navy blue race car, yellow accents car number 4 for Kiffin Simpson, the rookie graduate of the IndyNEX Series.
Lap number 1 for race 1, 175.866. Lap number 2, a tad quicker, 178.972 for Kiffin Simpson. Davey, what do you chalk it up to, the fact that you're seeing 2.5 to 3 mile an hour difference between the laps?
Well, it's just that confidence, just knowing that first lap when you go through there, you're a little cautious to make sure that it's going to have grip, and you got to remember the first time these drivers in the cars today, so they're just getting there and have to go for it. But then when it has that grip, it's like, oh, I can pick it up some more, and they try to pick it up. Now, I would say Simpson is just not comfortable. He's just been off the pace
all weekend.
Yeah, I just don't think that he's comfortable with his oval yet, and it's you can't blame him. He needs laps. That's it.
Well, there's a lot of factors going in to not just the setup of the race car. A lot of factors out of the driver's control here that they have to adapt to.
Yeah, that's right. Now, the next one out, Ed Carpenter. That's another one. He hasn't ran since Indianapolis Motor Speedway, and he's the oval guy with that team, and that they need to have some good results to keep them in that top 22 in the points. And right now, Ed was really struggling yesterday. Not just Ed, but his teammate as well. So we'll see if they found anything today. Same thing, same challenge, having to jump in this car and just get after it.
Did want to mention that Ed Carpenter has been in the race car for some of the testing that has been done on some of the ovals, but as you mentioned, he has not been in race competition since the Indianapolis 500. Lap number 1 for Ed Carpenter, 176.838, already exiting turn number 2.
So we go from the teenager of Kiffin Simpson and the 43-year-old of Ed Carpenter. That blue and black race car already into turn 3. He is chasing it up the racetrack. That was a rough entry, Davey Hamilton, in the corner. Ed had to gather it back in just to see the checkered flag.
That was a crash that didn't happen right there. That car definitely stepped out on entry down going into turn 3. Big time, big wiggle. Ed had to jump out of that throttle, leaving him to 169.209 lap, putting him, he'll start definitely last probably unless somebody else has problems in that second race tomorrow.
176.838, lap 1, lap 2, 169.209, Michael Young.
For David Malukas, it was a 184 and a 185 back-to-back, and it looked very quick out there. Well, you got an umbrella person here helping you out. This is pretty nice.
Yeah, no, it is really nice, but yeah, I don't know. We'll see when everybody comes around. I mean, there was so much more into it. We were sitting on the limiter the entire run. I mean, we really missed up on the gearing there, so I really hope everybody else had the same issue because there was so much more speed into it. I mean, we hit the maximum that we could with what we had, but I don't know. There's a lot left in it.
I remember him liking this place, so we wish you all the best, not only tonight, but tomorrow as well.
Thank you.
That's David Malukas, guys. We get set for our next run.
Yeah, good lap, a good couple of laps by David Malukas, in fact, as the green flag flies on the run of Augustin Canapino, already exiting turn 2.
Yeah, that's the spot yesterday where he had a lazy spin, keeps it under control this time, the driver from Argentina. It's a green and black race car into turn 3 and 4. Hang on to it, Augustin Canapino, pretty wide off of the 4th corner.
Lap number 1 in the books for Canapino, 183.632 miles per hour, already setting up for turn 3.
Yep, midway point of the back straightaway, Augustin Canapino into turn number 3. Now gets that car to the bottom of the racetrack, lets it eat and slide off of turn number 4. Good qualifying run for Canapino.
A little faster, 183.632 for lap number 2, 185.212.
Yeah, what I see right now is the entry of turn 3. I showed Ed Carpenter got really loose there on entry really early in the corner, and so did Canapino. And also yesterday, Ericsson did that and lost the car and got into the wall. So something pretty, usually doesn't, your entry is, you have the most downforce that you have. That's the end of the straightaway. You got a lot of speed. The downforce usually is working right there. But for whatever reason, man, to get into turn 3 on entry seems to be a challenge.
Jake Query.
The optimist in me, Ed Carpenter, would say you saved it there in turn 3 when it looked like that car was going to step out on you. But what is your viewpoint of that second lap?
I don't know. We had a really good test here, and then everything changed, and we haven't really been able to hit our ass since. So disappointing. The confusing thing was the balance went from one thing on lap 1 to something else lap 2, which was probably because of adjustments I was trying to make in the car. But yeah, this is not the race where you want to start at the back, so I'm pretty pissed off.
I was going to say, in terms of just the setup itself for the race, is this a spot? How do you try to make up track position?
You got to not make mistakes. There's not going to be much passing going on in this one, so you just got to survive and hope others make mistakes and you don't, and have a good day in the pits and see what we can salvage. But yeah, it's going to be a long couple days.
Appreciate the time. Ed Carpenter. Mark?
We have a frustrated veteran in Ed Carpenter.
Yeah, no question about it. And what he just said, what he talked about, because he said the car was doing one thing on the first lap, which I'm going to promise you that's an understeer who would not turn. He made some adjustments in the car, and those adjustments make a difference, but it shouldn't make a huge difference. And then he goes down to turn 3, and the thing on the next lap and about spins out. So just not happy.
We are watching the run of Pietro Fittipaldi, Rinus VeeKay, Linus Lundqvist, Graham Rahal, Nolan Siegel, Marcus Armstrong still to come. One lap is in the book, 183.623 as he points it toward turn 2.
Yeah, we'll watch for the stability on this run as Fittipaldi looked pretty stable in turn number 3 on lap number 1. Now he dives it into the third quarter on lap number 2. He'll let it slide up off of the racetrack in turn number 4. Stable run for Pietro Fittipaldi.
183.561. So lap number 1, 183.623. Lap number 2, 183.561. The most consistent run of the qualifier.
Yeah, right now he's third in both races the way it stands right now. So pretty consistent on times. You hit both in the 183 mile an hour mark. Hard to do that. That tells you that the car was pretty balanced. He didn't really want to go any faster than that on the balance that he had, but he got the most he could out of that first lap.
Rinus VeeKay going out through his warm-up paces as we speak, Davey. So the question remains with what Ed Carpenter is dealing with. Is there much at all he can help Rinus with over the radio?
Probably just telling him, hey, the first lap I had understood, the second lap got loose, so be careful on your adjustments. But I don't expect some big number out of Rinus right now. And as he said, they tested really good here, but since that test, they had a different tire, a different downforce package, and it was the hybrid package before, so they had that. But just that tells you that from the downforce levels and a different tire changes everything.
And he sees the green flag fly as he is riding along the outside retaining wall Hall down the straightaway and into turn number 2.
Just 2 top 10 finishes this season for Rinus VeeKay. The driver from the Netherlands already into turn number 3 on lap number 1. It's a green and black race car. He'll have it planted right in the middle of the racetrack. Rinus VeeKay off of turn 4 to see the white flag.
Really likes to bring that thing up high at the exit of turn 4 and turn 2. Pretty good first lap, 184.336 for Rinus VeeKay.
A similar line at a turn 2 as well, Mark. Using the momentum and the banking of this racetrack to carry the speed around this oval. Rinus VeeKay across the start-finish line. He sees the checkered flag.
Another consistent run, Davey. 184.336 for race 1. For race 2, 184.136.
I think that's the first driver we've seen slow down on the second lap, though, Mark. I mean, that had a good run. Obviously, Ed did as well. But usually that first lap is kind of your guess lap, see what it's going to do. Then the second lap, you can gain speed. But both the Ed Carpenter cars, they went faster on their first lap than they did the second.
So where it stands right now, you've got VeeKay, then Malukas, then Canapino, Fittipaldi, then Harvey and Robb, Carpenter, Legg, and Kiffin Simpson as we're getting ready to see Linus Lundqvist go through his warm-up.
Yeah, Linus, not a great weekend so for him. Now, we've seen this kid sit on the pole before. We've seen him have some good opportunities, but a lot of bad luck, too. I mean, when he's on the pole, the very first lap, there's an incident at Road America, crashes the car. The results, he got a podium. I mean, so he knows how to get that done. And so in that Chip Ganassi car, second one out so far, he expects to have a fast race car for sure. We'll see what he can do.
A kid with a ton of talent, and we think a ton of promise as the green flag flies to the qualifying run of Linus Lundqvist.
Yeah, that podium came at Barber Motorsports Park. That pole came at Road America. Those two racetracks vastly different than the 7/8 of a mile oval here at Iowa Speedway. Here on lap 1, though, Linus Lundqvist looks pretty good off of turn 4.
Comes off of turn number 4, lap number 1 of the books, 184.659 miles per hour. Nick already setting up for the exit of 2.
Red, white, and blue American Legion, the sponsorship on this car. Second Ganassi car we've seen on the racetrack, significantly faster than his teammate Kiffin Simpson. Again, that car looks planted and smooth out of the 4th corner.
184.659, and lap number 2, very consistent. 184.665, the 2-lap qualifying run for Linus Lundqvist, Jake Query.
And Pietro Fittipaldi, I thought that Luther had to look pretty good, look pretty fast, but it's a tricky racetrack and windy conditions today. How did it feel from your vantage point?
Yeah, it was tough. We made some setup changes, for qualifying, and yeah, hard to really nail it there, kind of going in with a bit of an unknown, and track changed quite a bit from yesterday, so could have been better, to be honest. So yeah, but now we got to focus on the races.
Appreciate the time. That's Pietro Fittipaldi. Mark?
Michael Young.
Yeah, with Rinus VeeKay, your teammate Ed Carpenter said track changed a lot from yesterday to today. As a matter of fact, everybody's saying that. What was your run like?
Yeah, you can definitely feel the wind. It's a bit gusty. It's a little bit of a different angle. So kind of an unknown. You don't have a lot of time to find out when you're out there. But no, I think it was a decent run. I mean, if I could do it again, there was probably a little bit more time in the first and second lap. But I mean, one important thing, especially in a weekend like this, is making sure the car's in one piece. And I mean, we're kind of up there for so far. So no, I'm pretty happy.
Good luck tonight, again tomorrow.
Thank you.
That's Rinus VeeKay, guys.
White flag flies on the run of Graham Rahal, 184.810. Graham Rahal exits turn 1.
Yeah, and he was very high exiting turn 4, very high this time exiting turn 2 on lap number 2. Graham Rahal from New Albany, Ohio, out of turn 4 to wrap up his qualifying run here at Iowa Speedway.
Again, lap 1, 184.810. Lap number 2, faster, 185.690. Another good run by Graham Rahal.
Yeah, it really is. Puts him on pole at both races for today and tomorrow. But obviously, there's going to be some cars coming faster. But a really good run by Graham.
Michael Young.
Starting to hear that Jack Harvey may get another opportunity to qualify due to the fact that the hybrid wasn't working. So that is the news down here on pit lane. We will see Jack Harvey again.
Yep, that is confirmed. And Davey, that's a rarity. You don't see that very often.
Well,
in addition to the hybrid, he gets another attempt.
Yeah, something, just who knows what went bad with that. But I guess he didn't have the extra power for his qualifying lap. So they're going to wait till the very last. They'll put another set of tires on that, go to the back, and try it again.
Warm-up laps from Nolan Siegel. Let's hear from Jake Query.
I'm guessing that plenty in the heartland like that American Legion red, white, and blue Honda for Linus Lundqvist. And based on the speeds, I'm thinking you might have liked it as well. But how did the run go?
She's always fast, and especially when you're, like you say, in the the American Legion College. It's always a good time, but yeah, it was okay. I think we could have done a little bit better. Wasn't entirely happy with my 2 laps, especially the last one. A little bit messy. Should have stayed on top of my tools a little bit better, but you know, my first qualifying in Iowa here in an INDYCAR, it's hectic, man. It's very, very busy, especially with a hybrid system. So reasonably happy, and we'll see where we end up here.
Appreciate the time. Best of luck.
Thank you.
Linus Lundqvist, Mark.
Lap number 1 of the books for Nolan Siegel, 183.749. Just like that, he exits turn number 4 on lap number 2 off of 183.749. Picked up a couple of mile an hour, 185.014. That slots him in provisionally 5th for race number 1 tonight, and 4th, Davey, for race number 2 tomorrow.
Yeah, not a bad run for him. You know, we're watching the hybrid power, and what that does, Mark, it charges. It gives you energy as the car is moving. And so as it charges itself under braking or even accelerating. But when you use it, it goes very, very fast. We were able to watch Nolan that time be able to use it a little bit the first lap, use it a little bit the second as well. So we'll kind of keep track of how they're using this hybrid power.
Jack Harvey may not indeed go very last. They may work him into the line as soon as the team is ready with tires and fuel. We do know this right now. Your fastest for race number 1 tonight, Rahal at 184.810, then Lundqvist, VK, Malukas, and Siegel. For race number 2 tomorrow, for now, it's Rahal, Malukas, Canapino, Siegel, and Lundqvist. As Marcus Armstrong's run is underway into turn number 3.
That car looked a little loose into turn 1 and exiting turn number 2. We'll see what Marcus Armstrong can do, Mark, but it looked quite a bit unstable there on lap number 1.
185.337 again for race number 1. 185.337, the fastest so far, Marcus Armstrong.
He got awful close to the outside wall there in turn number 2. Not sure if he touched it. He's carried a lot of speed around this racetrack. That car wiggles. He is slow out of turn number 4. And Mark, indeed, I think I see white rims on the outside of those right side Firestone tires.
Noticeably slower off of turn number 2, in fact, Nick, and the time and speed report shows that off of 185.337. Davey, lap number 2, 173.682. You see the replay.
Yeah, coming off that second corner, he just got up a little bit tight. You can see that front end push just white walled that car and then had to get out of the throttle for sure. And a pretty good hit, actually.
Fastest of the 12 qualifiers for race 1, the slowest of the 12 so far. Well, 11th slowest, we should say, so far, provisionally. Michael Young.
Graham Rahal patted the car when he got out. Happy with that run. You were quickest there for a moment until Marcus Armstrong jumped you. Hybrid system and working that, is that just another added element in qualifying here? It's so much going on.
There's a lot happening in a short period of time here, so for sure to remember to deploy and utilize the hybrid. It's effective. I mean, off of 4, you know, you can definitely feel it into the headwind here. But, you know, tricky out there, a lot of understeer on my car, but, you know, good stability, which is what we want for the race. I just wish we could have had a little less understeer because I think there's a couple tenths of a second in that. But, you know, good run. We unfortunately will have a penalty, a 9-place grid penalty to an engine change. So we'll see how we shake up here. But, you know, for OneCare, for Hy-Vee, for all of our sponsors, we want to go out and put on a great show, and we're going to try to do that tonight.
Best of luck.
Thanks.
That's Graham Rahal.
Lap number 1 for Grosjean, 183.453, already setting up for turn 3.
Yep, he took a pretty high line into turn number 2, gets it back down to the bottom of the racetrack. Can't keep it there, though. He drifts up out of turn number 4, then points it down to the inside of the racetrack to complete the qualifying run.
A couple of ticks faster off of 183.453, 183.800. That slots him in 9th provisionally for tonight. Davey, 7th provisionally tomorrow.
You know, he's been struggling this entire weekend. We've seen Grosjean on top of the charts a lot, having some decent finishes. We had one track he thought he could be on the pole, but it didn't quite get it. But here this weekend in this 7/8 mile oval, he definitely has been struggling and been bottom of the charts.
So we'll tell you where things stand right now for race number 1 tonight. Armstrong is your fastest, then Rahal, then Lundqvist, then VK, Malukas, Siegel, Canapino, Fittipaldi, Grosjean, Robb, Carpenter, Legg, Simpson. And for race number 2 tomorrow, it's Rahal, Malukas, Canapino, Siegel, Lundqvist, VK, Grosjean, Fittipaldi, then Robb, Simpson, Catherine Legg, Marcus Armstrong, and Ed Carpenter. Santino Ferrucci is out putting his car through the paces. He has put together a solid campaign for Larry and AJ, and AJ Foyt Racing. The green flag flies on the likable driver. Well, likable by most anyway, Nick Yeoman, as he rockets into turn number 2.
Yeah, we like him. I think half the fans like him. I'm not sure any of his competitors like him, but he is fun to watch. And as you mentioned, consistently in the top 10 this season. It's been a great season and a great resurgence for AJ Foyt Racing.
Lap number 1 to the books for Ferrucci. It's a good one, 185.405 as he exits turn number 2.
And this is why he's having such a good weekend, or good season, because that car is fast. Drivers from Woodbury, Connecticut. Santino Ferrucci has it on the bottom of the racetrack, moves up to the middle lane out of turn number 4.
Provisionally fastest, race number 1. Number 2 falls off the pace, 9th fastest, 181.408. Jay Query.
And Marcus Armstrong, as we talked about, kind of hung it out over the edge there in lap 1. Really good lap. And then what happened in lap 2 there in turn number 2?
Yeah, well, I had a bit of a different balance to what I was expecting, really. And the second lap, I just tried to carry a bit more speed. I thought the car was capable of it, but unfortunately that was my mistake. So I'm sorry to the team for that.
Of course, the important thing is good start. That's almost assuredly guaranteed for tonight.
Thank you very much.
Marcus Armstrong. Mark?
Yeah, I'm going to have, I think, a solid starting place. But, again, as we talked about it yesterday, Davey, nothing compares to the pressure of 4 laps in qualifying for the 500. But this is equally white-knuckle, I think, from that regard.
This absolutely is equal, but it just doesn't last as long. I mean, you're only out there a few laps, and it gets over with under a minute. This is a minute of hanging on, that's for sure.
Marcus Ericsson putting his car through the warm-up paces. Michael, you have an update on Marcus Ericsson's process throughout the last 24 hours.
It's been quite a day, or I should say night, last night for the Andretti Global team. He had a right underwing of the side of that car when he made contact at turn 3 yesterday. They had to change the entire right rear, the entire right front, a new gearbox, and a new MGU in that car. So lots of changes, lots of newness, but it looks like Marcus is getting ready to actually try to lay down some big laps here.
Takes the white flag. Number 1 in the books, 185.271, third fastest provisionally so far for Marcus Ericsson, setting up for turn number 3.
And he just had a massive catch in turn number 1. That car was sideways. He caught it, saved it, but that thing looks unstable for Marcus Ericsson as he sees the checkered flag.
185.271, and yep, you can tell he was off the pace, had to gather it back in. Lap number 2, Davey, 181.029, third fastest for race 1, currently 11th fastest race 2 tomorrow.
Yeah, we've seen that, right, Nick? You good eye, because when he went into turn 1, he did a great job, I have to say, by saving that race car. It got sideways, shot up the racetrack. He saved it, went through the oil dry, or the speedy dry, from the Indy Next race down there in turn 2. Still was able to gather it up. There's a little replay right here, and you can just see it. That back end started to step out just like it did in turn 3 yesterday. Great save by Ericsson.
And we need to remind fans that, let's face it, there's no warning for that.
No. Yeah, there's no warning. I mean, it's all about quick hands, that's for sure.
Jake Query.
And Tino Ferrucci, your home state is Connecticut, but you just seem like a guy that would feel at home on this racetrack at Iowa. Take me through your run.
Yeah, obviously, we have great cars. Hats off to all of our Sexton Properties Chevrolet 14 crew. I went into turn 3 and I backed it in, which is not something you want to do in an IndyCar. So I freaked out a little bit, and when I went to go grab the bar adjustment down the front stretch on one of the bumps, I launched the car and I hit it way too far, and so I just put the car into a massive understeer in the second lap, and I just couldn't recover the balance fast enough since it's such a quick track. So I'm a little bummed about the second lap, but the first lap was it doesn't go any faster than that for us.
Graham Rahal had said it, Mark. There's a lot going on for the driver in these laps here in this short track at Iowa. Santino Ferrucci felt all of them.
And for Christian Lundgaard, a lot going on with that race car, Davey. A 181.521, only 12th fastest of the provisional qualifiers so far. Lap number 2, not much better. 9th fastest at 182.268.
Just not comfortable with that race car, and we could see a lot of them moving around like that, including Ericsson. We see a lot of the second laps here of late really falling off pretty drastically. Now, he did go a little faster on his second lap, but not much, and you can just tell he just didn't have the confidence in that car for this qualifying.
And those in-car camera looks that you and I like so much give us an idea of what it's like to be in the cockpit with those drivers. He was really, that wheel was fighting him.
Yeah, it wasn't just a smooth input and a smooth exit of that steering wheel. He was working that thing back and forth. Now, the next guy up, here's the guy who's dominated this racetrack, Joseph Newgarden. We'll see how he does. The car looks like a Target car from the back, so it's kind of hard to get used to. Yeah. So it's great to see, sponsors coming in and continuing to support our series, and we'll see how Joseph does, because this guy, he has been a master of this speedway.
Yeah, 5 out of the last 6 seasons he's got to victory lane, Nick Yeoman.
Yep, it's the red and white Estemo car for Penske Racing and the two-time Indy 500 champion Joseph Newgarden into turn number 3 and 4. Pretty conservative line for the American Newgarden. He'll see the white flag.
Lap number 1 for Joseph Newgarden, 182.763 provisionally, 12th fastest for the race tonight. Nick Yeoman setting up for turn 3.
He is struggling. Looked a little unstable in turn number 2, and again, the line is just not along the apron like you expect. Newgarden pedaling out of turn number 4.
182.763, a little faster. Lap number 2 for race 2, 184.154. So right now, 12th fastest for tonight, 6th fastest for tomorrow afternoon. Michael Young.
Marcus Ericsson and your crew did a heck of a job last night getting that car back underneath you. You did a fantastic job on lap number 1, but just so you don't beat yourself up too much, everybody's complained about lap number 2. It looks like it had been a handful for nearly everybody out there.
Yeah, I mean, the 28 crew did a tremendous job overnight to rebuild the car, so super thankful of that. I gave it everything out there. The car was a bit on the nose, so I was sort of hanging on there for lap 2, but 2 long races to go, and happy with race 2 qualifying was okay, but we have to work a bit in the races.
Best of luck to you.
Thank you.
Marcus Ericsson.
Time for Jack Harvey to take his mulligan. We'll keep an eye on that run. Head back to Jake Query.
Christian Lundgaard is essentially dressed like the racetrack, because that Hy-Vee machine, he's got the Hy-Vee fire suit, and everywhere you look at this racetrack, there's Hy-Vee signage. What a great sponsor activation by the company that's on the side of your car.
No, absolutely. Everything Hy-Vee does for the series in general. Coming to this particularly event, seeing what they do to this track and the entertainment that they have lined up. Every time we come here, it's a completely different race weekend than any other, and I think a lot of other promoters have a lot to learn from Hy-Vee.
In terms of the run itself, how did the car feel?
No, it was good. We took a little bit of a swing at it from yesterday. I think we were a little surprised by the insecurity of the car compared to the test, and I never really felt completely comfortable yesterday, so we took a little bit of a swing at it to going into qualifying, which you also know is high commitment anyway. But I think it was good. Looks like Graham has a little bit of an upper hand, so I'll take the time today to dig into the data and understand for the race.
Best of luck this evening.
Thank you.
Christian Lundgaard.
Jack Harvey completes his run. Be a little happier, we think, Davey. A 182.661, provisionally 13th tonight. A 182.263 for race 2 tomorrow, provisionally 11th.
Yeah, that's right. Close at the same time on the second lap, but the first lap he definitely gained. He was in that 178 range, if I recall, so definitely helped him out, gave him a little confidence going out the second time. Still not where he wants to be, but it moved him up a bit.
So again, right now, Santino Ferrucci is your provisional pole sitter, 185.405. Marcus Armstrong is next to him, second fastest at 185.337. Then Ericsson, then Rahal, then Lundqvist, then VK, Malukas, Siegel, Canapino, and Fittipaldi, the top 10. For race number 2 tomorrow, so far, it's Rahal, Malukas, then Canapino and Siegel, Lundqvist, Newgarden, VK, Grosjean, Fittipaldi, and Lundgaard, the top 10.
Right now, next up, I think, on the list is Rosenqvist, and that it is Rosenqvist coming out on that back straightaway right now, Mark. His teammate, Malukas, did a great job.
Yeah.
I think a good indicator right now in this first race. He sits 7th right now, currently at 184.1. The good news with teammates is when you're gapped as far apart as they were in this qualifying, they have time to maybe change Rosenqvist's car, and Malukas was able to talk to him and kind of tell him what to expect. We'll see what he can lay down. By the way, he has been struggling this weekend.
You've got McLaughlin, Rossi, Kirkwood, Herta, Dixon, Award, Will Power, and Alex Pillow as the green flag flies on the run of Felix Rosenqvist.
Got the Eric Church Sirius XM channel on the side of that car. We're all looking forward to seeing Eric perform after the race tonight. Felix Rosenqvist through turns 3 and 4. Pretty good qualifier in IndyCar. Mark 5 career poles to his name.
Aaron Likens flashes the white flag, indicating that there's 1 lap to go for Felix Rosenqvist. Lap number 1, 185.196. Halfway point of the back straight.
He'll point that pink, navy blue, and white car into turn number 3. He'll hug the bottom line, let it slide up off of turn number 4 past the entrance to pit lane. Felix Rosenqvist sees the checkered flag.
How about that? Faster still off of 185.196. 4th fastest for race 1. Provisionally, he goes to P1, Davey. Lap number 2, 186.835.
Yeah, really good lap. First car in the 186-mile-an-hour bracket. What does he do? Almost a 187 on that second lap. So that first lap puts him in 4th, as you just said, but confidence built, and he really had a good second lap.
So again, Ferrucci and Armstrong provisionally on the front row for tonight's race. Ericsson and Rosenqvist just behind them. Rahal, Lundqvist, VK, Malukas, Siegel, and Canapino the top 10. As far as tomorrow, Rosenqvist, Rahal, Malukas, Canapino, Siegel, then Lundqvist, then Newgarden, then VK, then Grosjean, and Fittipaldi, the fastest 10. This one certainly bears watching. One of those guys that we expect to start up front is Scott McLaughlin. He rolls out of turn number 4, sees the green flag fly, and sets up for turn number 1.
And the reason those expectations were high is because after practice yesterday, Scott McLaughlin was the fastest of the 27 cars. It's the yellow and white XPEL colors for McLaughlin into turn 3 and 4.
That yellow and white XPEL machine rolls off of turn number 4. That XPEL sponsorship on that car several times, and it is a good one. Nick Yeoman, 187.526 for Scott McLaughlin.
Now that is typical Team Penske Iowa speed. Newgarden might have struggled. His teammate McLaughlin is not. A driver from New Zealand already blitzing his way off of turn 4.
So provisionally P1 tonight and P1 tomorrow.
Wow,
faster still, 188.248. Lap number 2, an impressive run for Scott McLaughlin.
Yeah, we expected that. I thought they were going to get it in that 188, 189 mile an hour range, and McLaughlin was one to do it. Now, there's still a lot of fast guys left. It's going to be hard to beat that number, though.
Jake Query.
Jack Harvey got out of his car. Nathan Brown of the Indianapolis Star had reported that the neck and back pain that Jack Harvey has been dealing with could jeopardize his availability tonight. I just talked to Jack Harvey, who said, look, it's my job to be transparent with the team on what the situation is, and right now I feel like I probably could not do more than about 20 laps in terms of everything that would be going on with the neck and the back. He is very sore, very stiff. He said it would be up to him to be transparent with the team. Connor Daly would be the presumed backup should Jack Harvey not be able to go this evening. Mark?
Alexander Rossi run is underway. Green flag flies. Let's hear from Michael Young.
Real quick with Felix Rosenqvist, you were 4th and 1st. Now you fall to 5th and 2nd in race number 2, but still a great run for you.
Yeah, pretty decent. It was quite hard out there. I had to adjust quite a lot from lap to lap, and I think these tires just take a lot of time to get warm, so that first lap is a bit of a guess. But yeah, with how I felt with the lap, I was surprised we were as quick. But yeah, let's see if I think the track is also getting a bit better every run. But yeah, our car was quick, and let's see if we can at least be a top 5 in one of the races.
Trust me, you weren't the only one struggling out there. Nice job.
Thank you.
Felix Rosenqvist.
Pretty consistent run for Alexander Rossi. Not pole speed, Davey, but still good. 186.039. Second fastest provisionally for tonight's race. Third fastest right now provisionally for tomorrow's race at 186.029. That's a very consistent run.
Yeah, I mean, how about that? The most consistent run we've seen. That tells me that's all that car had. He laid it down the first lap, went out there with some confidence. Alexander Rossi, that is. Laid it down. P2, as you said, that 186.039 to 186.029. Unbelievable how consistent that run was.
So now McLaughlin is the one that has to set and wait patiently. It's an excruciating wait, but it's not a very long wait because let's see, we have Kirkwood, Herta, Dixon, Award, Power, and Pelosi.
Yeah, not that many people left. He's at 6 left. He's got to dodge 6 bullets right now, but he's got a really good number, has a good opportunity to continue to hold on to that pole in both events.
And again, it's Kyle Kirkwood, Colton Herta, Scott Dixon, Pato Award, Power, and Pillow. They are chasing Scott McLaughlin provisionally P1 for both races. Lap number 1 for race 1 for McLaughlin, 187.526 miles per hour. Lap number 2 faster still, 188.248. as our most recent qualifier. Kyle Kirkwood points it into turn number 3.
Yeah, he's had a remarkably consistent season. 8 top 10s in 9 races from the driver from Florida. Kyle Kirkwood won 2 races a year ago. He sees the white flag here at Iowa.
Lap number 1 in the book for Kyle Kirkwood, and it is slow. 14th fastest right now at 183.504. Nick Gilman, halfway point of the backstretch.
Yeah, keeping his foot in the throttle, trying to pedal for a little bit more speed. We'll see if he can pick it up here on lap number 2. Line looks good through turns 3 and 4. But he doesn't look very fast out of that 4th corner.
Picked it up to 8th fastest for race number 2 off of 183.504, 184.797 for Kyle Kirkwood to Michael Young.
Scott McLaughlin, you were a man on a mission there, like you were not happy with that run, but you're P1 for both races thus far. We still have a couple to go.
I'm unhappy because there's 7 after me or whatever. So I know they've got a great chance, but yeah, XPEL Chevy feels great. Yeah, we'll keep rolling here, but yeah, and hopefully we've got a good spot for both races.
How was the car on the second lap? We talked about everybody struggling. You actually went faster, one of the few.
Yeah, I felt like the car had a little bit more on that first lap. I was probably a little bit safer than I wanted to be on that first lap, but yeah, let's see if it holds on.
Still worthy for dessert, I'm sure.
Yeah, we'll see tomorrow.
There you go, Scott McLaughlin.
Yeah, you know, Davey, what an ad he's been to the series.
Yeah, no.
I mean, just everything about him, what he does on social media, his interaction with the fans, and he has a heck of a lot of talent.
Yeah, and by the way, he has so many good people surrounding him. You know, we got Moyer, and you got, you know, just what was Penske to start with, but Ben Bretzman as the engineer. I mean, he's fallen into a really good program, but he stepped up inside and making it happen.
So Colton Herta getting ready to qualify. Herta, Dixon, Award, Power, and below. We'll keep an eye on Colton Herta's run. Get a quick word with Alexander Rossi.
Solid qualifying effort for Alexander Rossi in particular for race number 1. Question is, happy with it or felt like you had more in the car?
Well, hybrid didn't work, but I don't know if that was on our end or not. And then the balance wasn't right.
In terms of the hybrid itself, when it is in effect, it changes things how in terms of the feel from the cockpit?
It doesn't, but there's lap time,
So you obviously want a little bit more speed or boost out of it. Wasn't there for Alexander Rossi, Mark.
187.655. Lap number 1 for Colton Herta. He goes to P1. Lap number 2, a little slower. Haven't seen that much, but he's at 186.980 provisionally. P2 for tomorrow's race.
Yeah, really good run by Colton. I mean, he showed speed these last several events. I mean, he's really on top of it right now, but I'll tell you, he did lay one down provisionally on the pole for tomorrow, but like I say, P2, he's on the front row right now in both events.
So again, Herta, P1 for tonight's race provisionally. McLaughlin, Rossi, Ferrucci, Armstrong, Erickson, Rosenquist, Rahal, Lundquist, VK, David Malukas, then Siegel, Canapino, Fittipaldi, Kirkwood through 15th. Then Grosjean, Newgarden, Harvey, Lundgaard, Rob Carpenter, Catherine Legg, Kiffin Simpson, and the drivers yet to qualify, Scott Dixon, Pato Award, Will Power, and Alex Palou. That's kind of what Scott McLaughlin was talking about.
Right. I mean, you had 7 people, 7 bullets coming after him, and one of them just bopped him off for that pole position. Still leaves him on the outside of that front row currently, but we still, right now, with 4 drivers left to go, Dixon, Award, Power, and Palou, by the way, they all know how it is to set on the pole, and you know they're going to try to get it done here.
We just, in that interview with Jake Query, Conversations with Alexander Rossi, gives you an idea of just what a competitor he is, Davey. I mean, right now, with just 4 qualifiers left, provisionally, he's 3rd in race number 1 and 4th in race number 2, but he's not happy.
Not happy, right? There was just something there. Obviously, he was complaining about the hybrid system not working exactly, and obviously it's, you know, I mean, there's progress in work. I mean, we just got to, in play, just to continue to work with it, continue to learn it. We're learning it, just how it disperses, how it charges the energy. But that Andretti team, or actually the McLaren team, they're overlooking some stuff right now with actually Rob Edwards, it looks like. So Ferrucci, though, let's go back a little bit. How about Ferrucci in that HA Foyt car? P4 right now. Really good, solid run for him. Obviously, he missed his second lap a little bit. Not going to start as well tomorrow. He's going to be down a little bit right now in that 17th spot, but good run for that 14 car.
Look no better than we talked about, the nerves that it takes to pull this off on a doubleheader weekend.
Yeah.
And you highlighted it. Santino Ferrucci starts 4th tonight, at least provisionally. And right now, gosh, is all the way down 17th fastest for race number 2. Let's go to Michael Young.
Colton Herta, provisional pole, race number 1, currently 2nd in race number 2. Everybody's been complaining about this session and how difficult it has been. How was it for you? Obviously, you're quick.
It was better than practice for us. So it's actually nicer, but we had good changes and everything about it was nice. So yeah, I think we'll wait and see what happens with the Gamebridge Honda. Was really fast. Hopefully that time can stay up there, but there's some really fast guys to come.
Well, we wish you all the best. It was a heck of a run, though.
Thanks.
Colton Herta.
Yeah, a couple of race teams involved in a conversation with Kyle Novak from INDYCAR, Davey, and I don't know what the conversation is about, but might explain why we are somewhat delayed now with just 4 qualifiers left.
Yeah, not sure why the delay's happening, but we do see Rob Edwards down there talking to Kyle, and something, I don't know, they're talking back and forth, but what's weird, it shows in the background, you see them Arrow McLaren. It's almost like they're in their pit, but here comes Michael. He's involved in the conversation. Obviously, Rocket's down there talking to Colton Herta right now. Something going on with Colton's run, good, bad, or indifferent. Something's gone on there that they're trying to figure
It
out.
also might be an extension of the dissatisfaction, considering where they are, the discussion they're having. There might have been an issue with what Alexander Rossi was talking about.
Yeah, it could be that situation, although Colton's very, very fast, but that discussion is heavy right now with Kyle still down there. Obviously, the engineers, everybody's getting involved in that conversation. Michael Andretti has made his way down. He's talking to Rob Edwards and Kyle right now as well. Not sure what the situation is, but we'll soon find out and hopefully get it figured out. And they're
Nick Yeoman, you're seeing something interesting along the pit lane from your vantage point to the exit of 4.
Yeah, so typically after a driver completes their run, they pull about halfway down to pit lane. They hop out of the cars. The crews greet them there. Then they do the required media obligations, talking to television, talking to us. And we see about, 80% of the field that is parked there. But Colton Herta's car has just been pulled out of line, and they're pushing him towards, there is a break in the wall, but also towards the front of the line. So something is an issue right now with that Gamebridge car with Colton Herta's machine, and it looks like it is not going to the front of the line. They are pushing that car behind the wall, so I don't know if that car needs to run through tech inspection. Michael Young, you might have an update on this?
I didn't get an exact answer because I was told I wasn't going to get an answer, but in conversations, I think what's happening is his hybrid system hasn't been working for a couple of cars. If it was indeed for Colton Herta's car, he's got a bad, fast race car if he goes back out. But I know they're also talking to the 18 car. There's lots of scurrying around pit lane right now with options and maybe opportunities for these teams to go back out. Obviously, we had the issue at the top of practice, which allowed Jack Harvey to go back out. This may be the same situation for Colton Herta, but we'll get more information when we can actually get somebody to give us an answer.
We suspected that over a couple of week period of time, Davey, and maybe throughout the course of the season, with all that is going on within the confines of the series, that all we knew is normal. We might not know for a while.
Well, one thing for sure, Colton himself is going to the front of the grid. He's going back towards the front of the grid. The car went behind the wall. Looks like maybe going to run through tech again, potentially. I can't really see what's going on. Actually, they're pushing this car. It's going to the back of the pit area right now. So, and the qualifying has stopped. So I'm not sure what's going on.
So we can tell you again that for tonight's race, at least for now, Colton Herta, we do know, is provisionally the fastest with a speed of 187.655. Scott McLaughlin is second fastest for tonight's race at 187.526. Rossi, Ferrucci in the top 4. Marcus Armstrong, 5th fastest. Erickson, 6th. Rosenquist, 7th. Rahal, 8th. Lundquist, 9th. Rinus VK, 10th. David Malukas, 11th. Nolan Siegel is 12th. Augustin Canapino is 13th. Fittipaldi is 14th. 15th is Kirkwood. 16th is Grosjean. Newgarden is 17th. 18th Harvey. 19th Lundgaard. 20th Robb. 21st Carpenter. 22nd Legg. And 23rd fastest right now is Kiffin Simpson.
So right now Colton is in his pit with Michael, with Rob Edwards and the crew, and the car has gone to fuel back in the back of the garage area. So it looks to me like they're going to put some fuel into that car, potentially bring him right back out. Harvey has been pulled out of line again as well. Maybe going to give him another shot. Maybe something just going wrong with the hybrid systems. Don't know that. We're hopefully get some information soon. But Colton Herta, he's still suited up. He's down in his pit box with his team. No other cars have gone yet, so I'm not sure what that situation is. But it looks like Harvey's cars go behind the wall, back to fuel as well.
Well, if there's some sort of issue with a couple of cars now, Alexander Rossi talked about some issues with the hybrid on his car. I think it makes sense for the series to kind of put us in a holding pattern until they get all of this ironed out and make sure things are okay with the 4 cars that are yet to qualify.
Yeah, it's a situation where I'm not exactly sure how it's activated. I know that the series has control, that they could hit a switch and nobody could be able to use the hybrid portion of that race car, but then you turn on and everybody's able to use it. So I don't know if it's something physically with the race car itself or if it's something in race control at this point. But Jake sounds like he has a little update for us.
So the word along pit road at this point appears that there was indeed a misfire for Colton Herta that has allowed him to become eligible here for another run. Interesting because, of course, there was a lot of speed in that 26 machine. Now, this comes with a little bit of discontent of a couple of other teams, including that of Alexander Rossi, understandably, who I think probably has the mindset of, if the hybrid didn't work in my machine, then why wouldn't I also get another opportunity? That may be some of the discussion. But again, much of that is hearsay, but it appears as though that is, at this point, what is being examined along pit road.
Yeah, so right now as well, Nick, we see Brian Barnhart. Obviously, he is the engineer, the strategist for Rossi, and he's down talking to Kyle Novak right now saying, hey, and Alexander Rossi said, hey, my hybrid system didn't work. And so I'm sure that's why Brian is down there stating his case, going, hey, well, ours didn't work either, so do we get another shot at him? By the way, he was really fast, 3rd in that first race right now, 4th in the second one. So you get that hybrid, a little extra juice, that could put him back in that front row. And so so very interesting. So it looks like everybody is it's still confusing, and yes, they are in fuel. Just shows a shot of putting some fuel back at Shell, and the Shell fuel truck, and some fuel back in Harvey's car for sure. It looks like Colton Herta has already left, and they're going to be pushing it out momentarily on the line, I'm expecting.
It looks as though that perhaps race control is giving the okay, if so desired, for the 26 and the 18 cars to run again, according to several outlets on social media. So again, Davey, let's face it, we knew there was going to be growing pains with this hybrid system, and this is part of it.
This is part of it. And one thing that Alexander Rossi said to us that, hey, my hybrid system didn't work, but he also said, I don't know if that is the series or if it's our issue, and that's probably what they're trying to figure out, and maybe they could dictate or be able to look at the data and say, oh, no, that was your price, it's probably not ours on that point. And as we said, we've seen Brian Barnhart down the end of pit lane right now, and stating their case as well.
And I know a lot of folks are awfully excited to watch the rest of this qualifying unfold and see the starting lineup that is set up and ready to go for tonight's race. And Nick Gilman, as we mentioned, some pretty impressive talent is on display in terms of some of the top stars in music going to appear here at Iowa Speedway.
Yeah, Mark, obviously we're going to have Luke Combs performing before we drop the green flag of the first race tonight. Eric Church going to perform after the race, and then after the race is tomorrow, Kelsey Ballerini and Post Malone. So it is quite the lineup that the folks at Hy-Vee and INDYCAR and Iowa Speedway have put together for this Hy-Vee INDYCAR race weekend. Looking forward to it, and the setup is mighty impressive too. As soon as we wrap up with qualifying, they're going to wheel that stage out here onto the front straightaway. A lot of fans that will be down there on the racetrack to enjoy that concert. But again, looking forward to it. Luke Combs going to kick it all off here in a matter of hours.
Yeah, and for Davey, for those that have not been here to watch it, you and I were talking about before we went on today. I mean, what a well-oiled machine it is when they roll those stages out here and get them all set up, and then the teardown after the shows are over. Just impressive the way they do it.
Most of the time that you go to a concert, you walk in and the stage is completely set up, and all of a sudden they come out when it's time for them to play the concert, and then they don't see the teardown, but they're able to see everything right here, and it's just amazing. And all these fans that are here to come watch these concerts will be able to see just how orchestrated and how much work it takes to set the stage up and make it just like a concert they go to in a permanent facility.
Well, for all intents and purposes, Davey, it appears as though the 18 of Jack Harvey is going to get a third opportunity.
Yeah, and obviously Michael talked about his condition, his back, his neck. He's in pain. He says he can't run very many laps. Sounds to me like Connor Daly is going to be in that car car. I mean, I've seen several good backup drivers here. Spencer Pickett's here, obviously.
Yeah, I saw Connor earlier. He's talking to Mitch Davis, as a matter of fact.
Yeah, Connor's here. Actually seen, let me see, I've seen another driver too that is looking to get in the car. So sounds to me, unfortunately for Harvey, that may be a replacement.
Yeah, and Matt Brabham also is here
yeah,
as
Matty
well.
Brabham's here. That's right. Matty's driving the 2-seater with us. So yeah, there's a lot of good drivers in this the paddock who like to take that wheel.
Jay Query.
Colton Herta's car has been brought back onto the pit road just off of the area that goes back to the garage area. They are giving it a once-over. They just put a new set of tires on it. That, when I say new set, I mean not the one that they used to haul it back into the garage area. So now they are looking over Colton Herta's car. The one thing that is interesting, this is happening as Colton Herta walks up. This is not his pit stall. It is the one that is immediately onto pit road as you come out of the garage area. Colton Herta now is reaching into his bag to put his helmet on. Presumably will be getting back in to that Gamebridge number 26 machine. The spot where it sits right now on pit road is immediately behind that car of Jack Harvey, the other that has been in discussion here in terms of being allowed to make another qualifying run. So it looks imminent that that's going to be the case, as now the earpieces go in for Colton Herta. So it appears as though the young driver from California is indeed going to go back out here in Iowa. Keep in mind, very solid qualifying run for Colton Herta, but then that flurry of activity that took place with race officials once that he brought the car back onto pit road. They pulled him out of that area where typically the driver gets out to do interviews, brought it back, and then that's the status that we stand right now as the track now is reopened for qualifying. Colton Herta indeed takes off his baseball cap. The sock is going on, and it looks like Colton Herta, along with presumably Jack Harvey or someone else perhaps piloting that 18 car, will indeed go back out here onto this Iowa Speedway.
Dixon, Award, Power, and Pillow. That's where we were when the proceedings were halted. And indeed, the PNC Bank machine has exited the pits and is going through its warm-up paces. Scott Dixon, unbelievably, has never won here at Iowa Speedway. Would like to most certainly put that trophy in the trophy case at home. He comes off of turn number 4, and the green flag flies. We're back to qualifying with Scott Dixon into turn number 2.
Yep, one of the very few tracks you can say that about Scott Dixon. 32 career poles for the driver from New Zealand. He's a 6-time IndyCar Series champion. Already into turn number 3. Keeps the left side Firestone tires off of that white line. Scott Dixon out of 4.
Really hugs that outside retaining wall off of turn number 4 for Scott Dixon, third fastest provisionally for tonight. 186.208 miles per hour.
Looking for the 98th pole for Chip Ganassi Racing and Open Wheel Racing. Scott Dixon, the cockpit of that machine is orange. The rear wing is blue. The front wing is white. Dixon sees the checkered flag.
Lap number 2, faster, 187.162, so provisionally P3 for tonight. And second fastest so far, Davey, lap number 2, 187.162.
Yeah, really good lap. It's a full mile an hour off of the pole sitter, though, McLaughlin. But I think that, we're going to have to watch out. I mean, we got Award, Power, Pillow, all can shoot it on the pole. But you got Colton Herta again. Going to give another shot now. It's definitely an advantage to go out this second time. Colton got a little, when you just jump in that car and your first time out and you got to fill it out, it's hard to do. But Colton will probably have a little bit of an advantage, and if he gets that hybrid system working, watch out, he may have some good speed.
Well, I think the reason, obviously you want the system to work as intended for these drivers, to give them, all the tools they have at their disposal. But boy, if you're these teams and these drivers, I think you're going to fight hard to get yourself another opportunity, because I think the drivers have made it clear they feel like that this oval race is going to be a significant one in terms of your track position.
Yeah, no question about it. When the driver on track really has stated that, he goes, this track is just going to be on the bottom one line. The race is going to be horrible. That is Pato Award. He just coming by for his warm-up lap down into 1 and 2 already. It doesn't take very long to get a warm-up lap around here, but we'll see what he can lay down.
Most recent race winner, a late race charge at Mid-Ohio, a very popular win, as it is anytime he gets a win. Pato Award takes the green flag and points it to turn number 2.
Davey mentioned how quickly they get around here. We're talking 17, 18 second laps. Pato Award Award takes a wide angle off of turn number 2. That orange and black car already arcing his way through the apex of turns 3 and 4.
Off of turn number 4, Award. White flag is in the air at lap number 1. Fourth fastest, 186.074 as he's already halfway through his second lap.
No noticeable wiggles into turn number 1, and that car looks equally stable into turn number 3. Pato Award lets it eat off of turn number 4. He's a driver from Monterrey, Mexico.
Fourth fastest on lap 1 at 186.074. Trails off a bit, provisionally sixth fastest, Davey. A little slower lap number 2, 185.857.
Yeah, so I'm going to have to learn, and we all do, about this hybrid system. I was watching his hybrid gauge. It's like a little battery that you look at, and his was basically emptied the whole way around. I mean, it went up to 4%, then it went up to like 16, then right to 0. So basically, I didn't see where he had any help at all from the hybrid system. Now, I don't know if that was the issue before with these other drivers at all, but on Pato Award, he was either using it all the time or because there wasn't much in that bank.
Discomfort level for Scott McLaughlin goes up a little bit with the next 2 qualifiers, talking about Will Power and Alex Palou.
Yeah, by one of them being a teammate, knowing that whenever you have a Penske car chasing you down, knowing he's a teammate, that he can get it done. And by the way, you're talking about the guy that has more poles than anybody in the IndyCar series, and that's Will Power.
Takes the green flag. Will Power already setting up for turn 2.
Yeah, 70 career poles, Davey, to be exact, for Will Power. It's the all-time qualifying leader in IndyCar racing. Red, white, and black Verizon-sponsored Chevrolet for Team Penske. Will Power carries a lot of speed off of the 4th corner.
And carried a lot of speed indeed, but he's only P3 provisionally right now. Lap number 1, 186.328 for Will Power in the back straight.
Boy, that car really got loose in the middle of turns 1 and 2. He had to chase it up the racetrack. I don't know how he kept it out of the turn 2 wall. That was a wild second lap for Will Power.
Second lap down to 179.302. Drops him all the way to 22nd provisionally for race number 2.
Yeah, wow. I mean, he was laying it down, doing all he could, but you could see the front of that car would not turn on the exit of turn 2. He almost, as Nick just said, I mean, how he missed that outside wall, I'm not exactly sure. We watched him going into turn 1, and what happened there is he had a nice entry. He's bringing it down, and then the thing just, the front end just took off.
Michael Young.
Speaking with Brian Barnhart at the front of the grid, they were pleading the case to try to go back out. As we heard, Alexander Rossi did not have his hybrid unit working, but they will not be one of the cars that get to go back out. Jake Query?
Guy that won in the last race that we saw at Mid-Ohio. Pato Award out of the machine. Your teammate Alexander Rossi had issue with his hybrid. How was yours?
We didn't quite get to full pack for some reason, so it wasn't ideal. But yeah, the car balance wasn't there either. We just had massive lifts that are obviously we didn't want them to really be the thing in our run. But you know, it is what it is. I think we're. What are we, 5th, 6th?
Right now, provisionally 5th, yeah, for race number 1.
For race number 1? Okay. Yeah, so I think from now we can just hope that second lane opens up a little bit. From what I've seen from the tire yesterday, I don't think it's going to be very feasible, but we're going to try. We need a few cars to run up there in the race to be able to open that up.
Appreciate it. That's Pato Award, Mark.
Lap number 1 for Alex Palou, 186.841, provisionally P3 for tonight's race, Nick Yeoman.
He's another one that was chasing it up the racetrack out of turn number 2. Quickly gets it down to the bottom for the 2-time IndyCar and reigning series champion, Alex Palou.
So, lap number 2 in the books. It's a tick faster, Davey. You went from a 186.841 to 187.572, provisionally P2 for tomorrow's race.
Right now, still showing Colton Herta on the timing scoring, showing him P1 in the first race and P4 in the second one. But that's going to get erased here just momentarily. So that would put McLaughlin first, and actually that would put Palou second once Colton goes back out.
Yeah, interesting set of circumstances here is, determined some issues with the hybrid, and it's going to result in Colton Herta getting another qualifying attempt, and it looks like the car of Jack Harvey's going to get a third.
Yeah, and then that's right, and we see right now Michael Andretti, Rob. Okay, we'll go down to Will Power. Talk to him first.
Michael Young.
Will, you were extremely quick on lap 1, but man, did you have a handful. That was a fantastic save on that second lap.
Oh yeah, man, I was lucky. I didn't crash that one, but yeah, it just got a bit high and kept going towards the wall. Had to get completely out of it. Still finished the lap though, so I'm not sure where that starts. This was probably pretty far back.
Yeah, it was one of those situations, so the fact that you simply saved the car was amazing. Everyone has been talking about conditions from lap 1 to lap 2. Was that an instance of you made some adjustments in the cockpit and just lost it, or what happened?
I had some push, actually, middle off of 2, and that got me up a little bit. Probably needed a little bit more front in it.
So P4 in race number 1, P23 in tomorrow's race. So a lot of changes. How was the hybrid? There's been a lot. Jack Harvey now making his 3rd attempt. Colton Herta will be making his 2nd attempt. Did you have any issues with yours?
No, I don't think so. No, it was fine for me.
All right, well, we wish you all the best tonight and tomorrow as well.
Yeah, thank you.
That's Will Power.
So race control makes it official. Davey Hamilton, yet another qualifying attempt for both Colton Herta and Jack Harvey.
Yeah, and Jack Harvey got, we know kind of he went faster the second time he went around, but you got to remember he did have a sore back. We'll see how we can do this 3rd attempt.
Jake Queries with Alex Palou.
Alex Palou appears in body language content with the run of that DHL number 10 machine, but number 1, how was the feel? And number 2, a lot of talk about the hybrid. How was yours?
Yeah, it was good. Everything was good. It was a clean run. I'm pretty happy. It's my best ever qualifying on a short oval. So making steps. We knew yesterday that the car was really good, and it felt the same today. So yeah, hybrid, everything was working right.
And provisionally 2nd right now for race number 2. Are you going to have to, I guess, stave the temptation to get aggressive on this track because of that outside line and the uncertainty as to whether or not it'll come in?
I don't know. We'll see tomorrow. Depends. Tomorrow. It depends on how I feel. But you need to go for it. It's racing. I think at the beginning of the race, hopefully it's going to be usable, and hopefully if we keep on running on them on the 2nd lane, we'll be able to use it throughout the race.
Have a safe race. Best of luck.
Thank you.
Alex Palou, Mark.
So now the question becomes, Davey, if you're Colton Herta, is there a need to go again? Because you're P1 provisionally tonight, and you'll do no worse than starting 4th tomorrow.
Yeah, so that's the situation, is if Colton goes back out, those times a race. And so I think that team has decided, hey, I'm not going to, we'll just keep what we have. And we know that there was a problem with the hybrid system, that we didn't get the juice, but let's not take a risk of the car or going slower. So Colton Herta is getting out of that car right now. They're going to take that time. He's provisionally, he will be on the pole. He's going to be on the pole for tonight's race and 4th tomorrow.
So where it stands right now, Colton Herta is P1 for tonight's race. Scott McLaughlin is P2. Palou and Power, the top 4. Dixon, Award, Rossi, Ferrucci, Armstrong, and Erickson. Rosenquist 11th. Rahal is 12th. Lundqvist is 13th. VK is 14th. 15th Malukas, 16th Siegel, 17th Canapino, 18th Fittipaldi, 19th Kirkwood, 20th Grosjean, 21st Newgarden, 22nd Harvey, 23rd Lundgaard, 24th Robb, 25th Carpenter, 26th Catherine Legg, and 27th Kiffin Simpson.
Yep. So it's pretty much set. And I think, that's the opportunity for Jack Harvey, too. I think they could be a situation going, hey, is he getting? He is in the car right now. We'll see if he says, no, we'll just keep the times we have, or let's give it one more shot. But obviously, it was pretty clear that Colton and that team decided not to go for round 2 and just keep the times that he has.
And by the way, speaking of Jack Harvey, on that 2nd attempt, he qualified 22nd fastest for tonight's race and found a little bit of pace, Davey. He was 19th quickest for race number 2 tomorrow.
Yeah, and so it shows they said they're firing him up. He's going to go for that 3rd attempt right now, just to see if they get that hybrid working. It's kind of ironic that it's his car twice. I don't know if that means it's something in the team side or if it's on the series side. It must be on the series side, I'm going to say, that something's going on with that 18 car right now, but they have him fired up right now. They're going to ship him out right now. So our last qualifier is going to be Jack Harvey for the 3rd attempt.
Michael Young.
Yeah, with Colton Herta, you got out of that car talking with Scott McLaughlin. Right now, you sit on the pole. It was a risk-reward kind of thing?
I think we thought that we could maybe go faster, but then when we saw that we didn't really have to, we wanted to stay there. So, I guess it all worked out, but we still got one more to go. Just need to hold on for one more, and that'll be my first oval pole, so that's pretty cool.
Congratulations. Only one to go.
It's not done yet.
Colton Herta.
Yeah, Colton Herta. So conversations with Michael Young and Jack Harvey now putting his car through the warm-up paces. An unprecedented third qualifying attempt here at Iowa Speedway for Jack Harvey as the green flag flies and he points into turn 1.
Yeah, my math tells me, Mark, that this will determine his starting position for race 5 and 6 at this point. We'll see if Jack Harvey can find a little bit more speed, as you mentioned. Third time we have seen the Englishman on the racetrack. Here comes Jack Harvey out of turn 4.
Jack Harvey comes off of turn number 4, and the white flag is in the air. 183.556 miles per hour. 19th fastest for the race tonight, Nick.
He was the first car on the racetrack to start qualifying, and somehow, some way, he is the last car to end qualifying. The driver from England out of turn number 4. It looks smooth. Mark, what's it say on the stopwatch for Jack Harvey?
Lap number 2 for Jack Harvey. An incredibly consistent run. He had a 183.556 and a 183.331. And 19th fastest tonight, Davey. 18th fastest tomorrow.
So he did gain a little bit. I mean, so Jack, it paid off for them to go out. But right now, our biggest concern with that program is his back right now, where qualifying is over. Course is yellow. Congratulations, Colton Herta, his first pole. First time on oval. First oval pole, I should say. And then McLaughlin, he pulls off tomorrow's pole.
Yeah, so we'll hear from Colton Herta about his great starting position tonight and hear from Scott McLaughlin. And quite frankly, Davey, both of those guys have an opportunity with their starting positions to have very good weekends, as do, Alex Pillow and a couple of others. Pato Award is another that's going to start up front for both races.
Yeah, and as we all talked about, it could be one lane. It's going to be very difficult to pass, but I'll tell you, it's not going to be easy when it gets race time.
Michael Young.
There was a lot of frustration, Rob. There was a lot going on, but with the new system, the hybrid system, there are a lot of opportunities for things not to work properly. The decision to finally pull Colton and not go back out.
Exactly right. It's new for everyone. Everyone's learning together. Ultimately, we didn't have the use of the hybrid on Colton's run. We felt that should have given us and would have given us the opportunity to run again. Ultimately, bad time stood up, and so we'll take what we've got and focus on the race.
First ever over pole for him, so that's a pretty big night.
Yeah, I mean, incremental progress every week, and let's hope the race is as good to us as the qualifying was.
Best of luck.
Thank you.
That's Rob Edwards, Jake Query. You're with his driver.
So Colton Herta, we now officially can say congratulations on the pole. Take me through now the shift in mindset in terms of the start of this race and what it's going to take to keep that 26 machine up front.
I mean, it's tough. It's a lot of good guys behind us at the start of the race, but we had a good car in practice yesterday. Hopefully, cooler temperatures will suit us a little bit more, but this Cambridge Honda is fast. Obviously the qualifying speed shows that, but in the race it should be just as good.
Was that the most confusing qualifying situation you've had?
It's probably one of the more bizarre qualifying IndyCar's seen in a while, but happy to get my first pole on an oval off my back, and I'm happy for that.
See you in a couple hours. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Colton Herta, the pole sitter for later this evening here at Iowa, Mark.
Yeah, pretty exciting for Colton Herta fans for sure, and we'll get some comments in just a few minutes from Scott McLaughlin, get his thoughts on his P1 start. And so, Davey, an interesting session of qualifying for sure here at Iowa Speedway.
Yeah, it sure was. And, congratulations to Colton. I mean, this kid, he's young, and I didn't realize I know he's had poles. I was part of the program when he got his first pole as a young kid, and he just continues to show what talent that he has, and didn't realize, as I said, that he hasn't had one on oval yet, but congratulations to him and that team.
First part of the season, quite frankly, wasn't terribly kind to Colton Herta, and let's face it, over the past couple of races, I think he's found some pace, and he's looking to get himself maybe back into championship contention.
I really do. He really hasn't, and that's right. He has been solid these last few races. As a matter of fact, he knows what first and second look like for the last few races. He's locking down those areas of being able to start in front of the field, and as far as pit areas are concerned. So really he's stepping it up big time in his qualifying and racing. The program's really come together.
So, Davey, give us a little race strategy for tonight.
Yeah, I think that let's go down to Jake.
Okay.
Scott McLaughlin, that was a flurry of activity there. At one point, you probably thought you still had a shot at pole, but obviously two good starting positions, including, of course, tomorrow. But take me through just your thoughts on the runs.
Look, a really solid run. Congrats to Colton on race 1, and for us to get race 2 is fantastic, and we're on front row too on the outside there on the race 1. So solid run. A lot of kerfuffle going on. Didn't know what was going on, but just did my laps, and it worked out pretty good.
I'm going to ask you the same thing I asked a couple other guys, and that is how do you avoid the temptation to try to get that outside line early, knowing that that groove may not be coming in?
Yeah, I think the first few laps are going to be probably the most amount of time we can get up there and hopefully get to use it and then put rubber down. So, hopefully more people get up there early and then it works in and it gets really going. But we've got 2 solid starting spots, so we'll just bide our time and see where we end up.
Crazy 20 minutes or so, but the smile didn't go away. Best of luck tonight.
Having fun, man. Cheers.
Starting grids for the 2 races. For race 1 later on this evening, row 1, Herta and McLaughlin. Row 2, Palou and Power. Row 3, Scott Dixon and Patro Ward. Row 4 has Alexander Rossi and Santino Ferrucci. Then on towards row 5, it is Marcus Armstrong and Marcus Ericsson, and all Marcus row 5. Then it's Felix Rosenqvist and Graham Rahal on 6, but note Graham Rahal has a 9-place grid penalty. Row 7, Linus Lundqvist, Venus VK. Row 8, David Malukas and Nolan Siegel. Row 9 sees Agustin Canapino and Pietro Fittipaldi. Row 10, Harvey and Kirkwood. Row 11, Grosjean and Newgarden. Row 12, Lundgaard and Stingray Robb. Then the final 2 rows. Row 13, Ed Carpenter, Catherine Legg, and on the last row is Kiffin Simpson in row 14, who also has a 9-place grid penalty. Now the grid for race 2, it is row 1, Scott McLaughlin and Alex Palou. Row 2, Scott Dixon, Colton Herta. Row 3, Rosenqvist and Rossi. And row 4, O'Ward and Rahal. Then on to row 5, it's Malukas and Canapino. Siegel and Kirkwood is your row 6. Lundqvist and Newgarden, row 7. Row 8, VK and Grosjean. Then on to row 9 with Fittipaldi and Harvey. Row 10 is Lundgaard and Ferrucci, Stingray Robb and Marcus Ericsson. Row 11, row 12, Will Power and Kiffin Simpson. Then on to the final 2 rows for race 2, Catherine Legg and Marcus Armstrong in row 13, and in row 14 is Ed Carpenter as well. Those are your grids for both of the races here at Iowa Speedway this weekend. You can catch us for race 1 at 1 AM British Summer Time and race 2 5 PM British Summer Time tomorrow, all times in British Summer Time. Thanks for watching, and we will see you hopefully for race 1 a little bit later on in around 4 hours time. See you then.